To arm the quadcopter, you bring the sticks down and out, and that makes them, the motors run, and you can take off. And if you can also set a new home position for return to home by bringing the sticks down and out, or down and inward, I mean. And that will set a new home position for its return to home. But also keep in mind when you do this, this also arms the motors the same way as moving it down and out. So either way will arm and arm the motors and stop the motors also if you need to do an emergency stop. You can calibrate, and I do recommend you calibrate the controller by moving the sticks up and to the left, both sticks up and to the left. And I'm going to do it right now to show you how to do it. And then turning on the quadcopter, and you'll see an H in the window. And then you move the sticks around in 360-degree fashion. And then you press down any of the trim buttons and hold it for 2 seconds. And that means the controller is now calibrated. So I recommend you do that because these Hubsan controllers can be out of calibration from the factory. I've had that happen. And you can do a manual compass calibration and activate it by moving the throttle stick to the left and rapidly jiggling the right pitch roll stick, and that will enter into compass calibration. But also, every time you start up this quadcopter, it will force you to do a compass calibration, so very few times will you need to actually do that. So let's go into this. To start up this quadcopter, you first turn on the transmitter. And notice I put an X on the ground, and there's a reason for that. We'll show it shortly. Then you plug in the battery. And I haven't closed the door yet. I am waiting for a bind. And if it doesn't bind, this time it bound, you see the OH, which means it's bound, and I lost bind. So what I'm going to need to do is rebind it. Oh no. OH. Let me see if we got bind. No, we lost bind. So this is a trick that you need to know, folks. If it doesn't bind, this is how you bind Hubsans. Manually bind it. You hold the camera button down while turning on the transmitter, and you'll see an H. And then you plug in the quadcopter. And I am pretty sure it's going to bind. So I'm closing up the door and putting it on the X. And we do have a bind, OH. And it's telling me right now, this is another way you know that you've got a bind, is it tells you to do the compass calibration. So it says set compass 1. So here's what you do for compass 1. And first off, you've got to take off any watches you might be wearing, anything electro or ferrous, like my watch. Hold it up like this, and you spin it around. It doesn't matter clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm going to turn counterclockwise, and at the same time, I am also going to spin my body. This helps speed up the process if you also spin your body while spinning it clockwise or counterclockwise at the same time. And let's see, now it says set compass 2. And I'm doing the same. I point it nose downward and turn it like so. And we have solid lights, which means we are compass locked. So I am putting it in the center of that X. Right now we have 5 satellites. I am going to wait until we get at least 6 or 7 satellites, minimum of 6, which tells you that you have GPS lock and you're safe to take off. If I took off right now, and let's see if it is even possible. Yes, it is possible. I'm going to turn that off now. You will be in altitude hold mode, but will not have GPS lock, so there is possibility of flyaway in those cases. You want to wait until you get at least 6 satellites. And I am going for 7 satellites, to tell you the truth, folks. Oh, we got 10. It jumped from 5 to 10. So we are ready to fly. I am making sure my cap is centered. This is how I do it, folks, before we fly. And it is recording. And again, I am going to set its position, home position, by down and inboard. And also notice that the motors start automatically. And giving it throttle to take to the air. Checking its stability. It seems to be stable. A little bit stable. That's where we took off from, and we're about a meter behind it. And starting the camera. And walking in front of the camera to help. This helps me sync up the cameras.